I've been thinking about sending cards to people to give them a pick-me-up in these very difficult days. Send them a card. And so I headed to the card aisle, and do you think I could find any Ascension Day cards? No. There were no Ascension Day cards to be had. Either they went off the shelf like hotcakes, or there's no such thing as an Ascension Day card. Apparently, it's no big holiday. But to people of faith, the ascension is important to us. The story from Scripture it sounds like this. Following the resurrection, Jesus would show up from time to time to his people. He'd fan the flame of faith for them. He'd show continual proof of his resurrection from the dead. He'd drop hints, teaching moments. And then in Acts 1, the 9th verse, are these words. As they, the disciples, were looking on, he was lifted up, and a cloud took him out of their sight. And while they were gazing into the heavens, two angels said, "Why are you standing there, looking into the heavens? Jesus has been taken up." Here they are. They see it all. They are straining their eyes to see him rise. And they just continue to stand there, peering up, though the show is all over. And the angels break the obvious. He's gone. Now, it must have been confusing. For 3 years, these disciples had followed Jesus. They watched him die. They witnessed his resurrection. They believed that he would rule on earth. And then Jesus leaves them again. I mean, what gives? What's going on? But it is later that clarity comes to them. The disciples begin to see the bigger picture, whereby they go from stargazers to working on Jesus' behalf in their world. I have shared the story about Lucy recently, not very long ago. But I'm just compelled to share it again because I believe that God gave me the right words to say at the right time. Lucy was a parishioner at the first church that I served. Lucy was very frail, 90 years of age or more. Lucy would come to church with her family from time to time, and on occasion, I would go see Lucy at her house. And what I remember the most was the Bible that sat on the end table next to Lucy's favorite chair. What caught my attention, the Bible did not have a lick of dust on it. As time went on, it was best for Lucy to go to a nursing care facility. It was difficult. It was a difficult decision for the family, and Lucy, she wasn't pleased either. And so I went to the care facility to see how Lucy was doing. The first words from her mouth to me were, "Get me out of here. I want to go home." In fact, they were the only words repeated over and over again. Lucy was so upset. She was pleading. She was looking at me, expecting that I would do something, anything. I mean, what do you say? What can you say? I was lost for words, but words suddenly came to me, and to this day, I do not believe they were my words. I said, "Lucy, I've been to your house on several occasions. I know that you read the Bible. I know you've a long history of faithfully attending church. Lucy, it's time to use your faith." And Lucy quieted down. Somehow, even with her cognitive difficulties, I believe Lucy, she heard those words, understood them, that this is the time, that these are the moments to use your faith. The disciples, having lived with Jesus for 3 years, understood then that when Jesus ascended, it was their turn. It was time to use their faith. It was time to use what they'd been taught. It was time to use what had been modeled for them. And the disciples began to do the work of God in earnest. So what does the ascension mean to our ordinary, everyday lives? Well, for one, Christ is risen, ascended to the Father, yes. It means that the Spirit is with us, within us. It means that you and I are Christ followers. We are Christian. And we have walked this church lobby for years. We've worshiped in the sanctuary or others like it for years. We've listened to preachers drone on through hundreds and hundreds of sermons. So what now? What is God calling you to do in these days? How has God equipped you? How has God prepared you for such a time as this? You know what I believe, church? I believe it's time that we use our faith. It's time that we use what God has given us. Would you pray with me? Our God, many or most of us have been practicing our faith for many, many years. Worshiping, praying, small group life, studies. We may not feel equipped like the pastor, perhaps, but we really are equipped. For you've given us the gifts of the Spirit. There are people among us who are listening right now who have gifts of listening or of gifts of encouragement, gifts of mercy or helping, intercession, prayer, giving. God, you ascended that we would use our faith. God, it's time that we use our faith. What better time to use our faith than now? Amen.